avoiding the guards. Prison guards back then weren't as subtle as discipline as today. Their orders were to shoot on sight, so any attempt to escape was a deadly gamble. Morris and the team had a good advantage in that they were all non-violent offenders, a rarity in Alcatraz. This gave them the advantage of slightly less scrutiny from the guards, which in turn gave them more freedom to operate. Each team member oversaw a different part of the plan, but they all had to also find a way to get out of their cells on the night chosen for the escape. The Anglin brothers were responsible for making the fake heads to leave behind in the empty bunks. The heads were created by sculpting handmade papier-mâché-like mixtures of soap, toothpaste, concrete, dust, soap wax, toilet paper, and giving them a realistic appearance with paint from the maintenance shop and actual human hair picked off the floor of the Alcatraz barber shop. Morris had the job of fixing up an instrument similar to an accordion so that it would inflate life vests and a raft. The crew also worked together to create tools to dig out of their cells and unscrew the bolts from the vents. Amazingly enough, they managed to make picks and wrenches from items they'd taken from the prison, like wood from the workshop and cafeteria spoons. Each day the team would work from 5:30 p.m. to roughly 9 p.m, chipping away at their cells and trying to make holes big enough to fit through. They removed the vents in their cells and used the picks to make the holes bigger. They were quite lucky, due to the fact that the prison was already old and in pretty bad shape, with weak, crumbly walls. The salt water that ran through the pipes for showering and washing dishes was slowly destroying the plumbing and leaking into the prison walls. Over the years, the salt wore down the cement in the walls and eventually caused it to crumble. The prison authorities purposely kept the water slightly warm to stop the prisoners getting used to the cold temperatures out in the icy waters of the San Francisco Bay. Once the ventilation ducts beneath the sinks were wide enough to pass through, the men accessed the unguarded... The men accessed the unguarded utility corridor directly behind their cell's tier and climbed to the vacant top level of the cell block, where they set up a private workshop. The men concealed their absence while working outside their cells, and after the escape itself, using towels and clothing piled under the blankets in their bunks with the dummy heads positioned on their pillows so they appeared to be sleeping. Here, in their workshop, using over 50 raincoats and other stolen and donated materials, they constructed life preservers, based on a design Morris found in the March 1962 issue of Popular Mechanics, with the article, "Your Life Preserver, How It Will Behave If You Need It." After a short break, we will look at the escape itself and the aftermath, including the thoughts of the families and the officials involved.
This show is brought to you by courtesy of Neil Packer and the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre. Find them online at www.hauntedresearchcentre.com or at 9-11 Regent Street, Hinckley, LE10 1AW. Open Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for guided tours of the haunted rooms at just £3 per person. Booking is essential at all times, and over 16s only please, unless accompanied by an adult. The haunted rooms are extremely haunted, and paranormal activity could, and has, taken place at any time. Some areas and particular objects or items can be quite scary and unnerving. The Gift and Craft Shop is open daily from Monday to Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m, selling a wide variety of paranormal items, books, magazines, merchandise stock and cats. Why not pay them a visit to pick up a gift with a difference? Membership is available for £25 to qualify for selective discounts. And why not download the app, available on iOS and Android, for only $3.99 to keep up to date with what's coming up at the centre. Fright Nights was established in 1999 and was the first company in the world to offer overnight ghost hunt experiences to the general public, pioneering paranormal events since the last century. Now, over 23 years old, hundreds of ghost hunts join Fright Nights every month for the most thrilling ghost hunting experience worth remembering. If you have never been on a ghost hunt before, then why not join them on an event to see what it's all about? Fright Nights currently operates at hundreds of the UK's most haunted and exclusive venues with their teams of experienced paranormal investigators, mediums and psychics. You are guaranteed a quality night of ghost hunting unequalled by any other company. They have a VIP members club for regular returning guests, offering discounts and exclusive event invitations. And they can host private events for you and your friends, clubs or work colleagues. They have also expanded their new Friends of Fright Nights pages with many more new things to come. So why not book early with a small deposit so you don't miss out? The balance is due 28 days prior to the event. Contact them on 07852 998 628 or email at frightnightsevents@gmail.com. That's frightnightsevents@gmail.com. Or why not visit their website www.frightnights.co.uk, where you can see the many locations they investigate and learn a lot more about them and the opportunities they have available. You can also visit their many social media sites for up-to-date information on all the places they have been to and what's coming up in the future. They look forward to seeing you soon. Fright Nights Ghost Hunting Events. Remember, only the original will do.
Morris, being the out-of-the-box thinker that he was, found other ideas in magazines. For example, in the November 1960 issue of Popular Mechanics, he learned how to use resin to make a lampshade. And in the May 21st, 1962 issue of Sports Illustrated, he studied signposts of water safety, channel buoys indicating course, and navigation hazards. Between them, they assembled a 6 by 14 foot rubber raft, the seams carefully stitched by hand and sealed with liquid plastic available in the shops, and heat from nearby steam pipes. Paddles were improvised from plywood and screws. Finally, they climbed a ventilation shaft of the roof and removed the rivets holding a large fan in place. By the night of the 11th of June 1962, all the preparations were in place, so the men finally initiated their plan. They waited anxiously for lights out to go so they could set their plan in motion. They wondered if any of them would make it to the outside alive. The risks were high, but the thought of freedom away from Alcatraz was just too strong. They set up their fake dummies and squeezed out of their cells. The gang was all set. and all that was left to do was to wait for Alan West to finish carving out his escape hole. West discovered that the cement he'd used to reinforce the crumbling concrete around his vent had hardened, narrowing the opening and fixing the grill in place. It seems he made a miscalculation of the size, or the work necessary to enlarge the hole. Frankly, Morris worked from the utility corridor while West worked from the inside. They tried everything, but the hole just wasn't big enough, and West was stuck. Around 9:30 p.m, both Morris and West decided that West would have to be left behind. I did do some research on Alan West's situation and found a lot of conflicting reports on what he actually did about his escape. Some say that he hadn't given up on his plans, even though he was left behind, and that he continued working on enlarging the hole in his cell enough for him to squeeze through, though, until he finally succeeded, until he was caught. And some say that he gave up and went back to sleep, or that after getting to the rooftops, he most likely went back to his cell after realising he didn't want to risk his life in the ice-cold rough sea surrounding the rock. I'll let you decide that one. During West's confession, he bragged to the authorities that the whole plan was his idea and that he was the one that orchestrated the Great Escape. Go figure. From the service corridor, Morris and the Anglins climbed the ventilation shaft to the roof. Guards did hear a loud crash as the men broke out of the shaft, but nothing further was heard, and the source of the noise was not investigated. Hauling their gear with them, they descended 50 feet, 15 metres, to the ground by sliding down a kitchen vent pipe, then climbing two 12-foot, 3.7 barbed wire perimeter fences. The climb to the jailhouse roof went fairly easily for Morris and the Anglin brothers, after which they had then made the crossing. After which, then had to make the crossing of over 100 feet of rooftop before they could begin their final descent. The three men then climbed down the 50 feet of pipes on the side of the building to reach the ground. They came down next to the showers and quietly snuck past the guards stationed there. The three men used their wits and preparations to evade all of the other guards on duty as they made their way to the shore. At the northeast shoreline, near the power plant, a particular blind spot in the prison's network of searchlights and gun towers, they inflated their raft with a concertina stolen from another inmate that was modified to serve as bellows. Investigators estimated that the men boarded the raft sometime after 10 p.m. They launched it and departed 2 miles to the north towards their objective, Angel Island. Due to the successful dummy head ruse, the alarm wasn't raised until the morning of the 12th of June 1962. That morning, blaring sirens rocked the prison of Alcatraz and woke up all the inmates. There was confusion all around. Nobody could believe that anyone had actually tried to escape the rock. As far as everyone knew, such a thing could not be done. But they would soon discover that the three inmates had achieved the impossible and gotten away. Multiple military and law enforcement agencies conducted an extensive air, sea and land search over the next 10 days. On June the 14th, a Coast Guard picked up a paddle floating about 200 yards, 180 meters, off the southern shore of Angel Island. On the same day and in the same general location, workers on another boat found a wallet wrapped in plastic complete with their names, addresses and photos of the Anglin brothers' friends and relatives. On the 21st of June, shreds of raincoat material believed to be the remnants of the raft were found on a beach not far from the Golden Gate Bridge. The following day, a prison boat picked up a deflated life jacket made from the same material 50 yards, 46 metres off the Alcatraz Island. According to the final FBI report, No other physical evidence was ever found.